Every voice is different and every voice is needed. This is my voice. How far can we go? Are you prepared to journey deeper with me? Share your vulnerabilities, beliefs and fears. By connecting, we discover the best from and of each other. Inspire, challenge, transform. Connecting and learning together. I ask the questions that you are thinking, but not asking. This is Authentically Me. I am Nirvana Lange, and my guest today is Paula Connor. So Paula Connor, welcome to Authentically Me. Paula is from Ontario, Canada.
Yes.
Good morning. So Paula, wow, you've got quite a huge, what do I call it, all your achievements and achievements in one way, but I guess another way is your journey of self-discovery, your journey of own healing, and then knowing that these are modalities that you could go out and help others and spread the love and spread the knowledge.
Yeah, that would be accurate. I just love to learn. I love learning, and I love exploring tools and methodologies that can support people, because it's a very challenging time on the planet right now. So yes, the more we can share insights and wisdom to help folks along their journey, then that just feels better in my own heart. So
yeah, and definitely we're going to talk about what's happening on this planet in this year 2020. So I just want to go through some of the things. Paula, you've completed your business administration marketing program from Georgian College, as well as your BMSc in metaphysical studies. You've got over 20 years of working in sales, professional communication, collaboration, architecture industry in Toronto. You left the corporate world in 2018, and your passion to teaching others about self-awareness, stress management, developing emotional intelligence, the expansion of consciousness, and to bring a fresh, unique perspective to understanding multidimensional concepts. And as a number of gifts, you also are quite psychic, so you have all the clear sentient and clear knowing and clear audience, and so you're quite an intuitive person. And HeartMath, which I really want to know a little bit more about, that's something that when I heard about you kind of jumped out for me. I want to know a little bit more about HeartMath. But let's talk about self-awareness. Let's start off with self-awareness and what, especially in this time with this pandemic, scandemic, is awareness for you?
Self-awareness is being aware. Obviously, aware. You can look at and see very clearly how you are behaving, how you are responding to everything outside of you, how you are in relation to your external world, by having a complete understanding of your internal world. An example would be if you are in judgment, having a moment of judgment. Traffic would be perhaps the easiest way. If you are noticing in the moment that you're like, oh, wow, that guy's really driving super fast, and you may be judging them, then you can catch yourself in the moment and say, he's a divine being. He has the right to be just as he is, and clearly he's in a hurry and I'm not. So you don't get caught up in the why are they doing or being that way. So that's kind of like a broad definition, but it's being able to see what you're thinking, how you're feeling, and how you're operating in your world all the time. Now, I don't want it to come across like you're constantly policing your own thoughts, but to a degree you are observing, witnessing, and being accountable and responsible for how you are operating in the world.
Yeah. And I know that being self-aware is really taking responsibility for everything, and that is the most challenging aspect of self-awareness, is being response-able and be able to see your own response to something. And I have been challenged specifically in this last week, plus minus 10 days, and have found myself again seeing something that's been re-triggered reignited. And being an Aries, and Aries being ruled by the planet of Mars, the war and aggressiveness, I want to go battle. I want to go into the battle and make things right. Like, I have to make things right. That's very righteous of me. And I found myself caught up in wanting to make things right, and suddenly realizing that everything is about me. Everything that has been reflected, that has happened, that has pissed me off, triggered me, everything is actually all about me. And then it's like the egg breaks open and the tears comes, and you realize that responsibility, shit, is that thing again I thought I've been dealing with for such a long time. I feel that I know how to deal with people within my heart and from my heart, and take from where they are coming from. This last 10 days, it's something that again, boom, into that spiral, and being able to then come out, and I judge myself as well, being able to come out and being then gentle and forgiving when you realize, so I think that's the gift.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we're seeing now is we really need to get out of polarized thought. Because if you could stay out of polarized thinking,
yeah,
and understand that it's just an idea, it's just an opinion, right? We don't have to be right or wrong. This is the whole polarized thinking, right? It's just an idea, and it's totally fine that you have a different opinion, perspective, or idea than me, as you have had a completely different collection of experiences, your upbringing, your parents, influence, notwithstanding your ancestral influence or what have you. It's just an idea, and it doesn't have to be wrong or right. So judgment is a huge thing. For sure.
And it's definitely the self-judgment that is sometimes the worst, because it's great to point the finger, as you also said in one of your previous videos that I've watched, is how many fingers are actually pointing back,
Exactly.
and you realize that when you realize that, and to be forgiving to the fact that you have been judging not only others but yourself, that is a process again on its own to go, yeah, that's a thought, you've had that thought, you can change your mind and have a different thought, and step out of the pattern, the belief systems, the programming. And I think in a way, this is, as you say, so many layers about upbringing, ancestral, but then there is also the programming that, you were talking in your round table with your beautiful divine feminine people, goddesses that you had your round table with last week, and you were talking about the influences that happens when we're asleep, or the nanotechnologies, or things like that. Can you explain? There's a lot of people here in South Africa that are very awake to this, and very aware, which is great to have people to connect with. But could you explain to, say, the layman, what are those other influences, programming that is happening to us, or could be happening to us?
With respect to the nanotech, or other ways that it happens?
Other ways, like you can bring in nanotech, but there's many ways where we're being programmed. Food is one of them, technology is one of them. So there's a lot of ways.
So the first thing I want to say is that, no pun intended, but consciousness trumps everything. When you are conscious and you are in charge and not ruled by your emotions, that trumps everything. I think you heard Patricia Corey state that in the Divine Feminine, that's our shield, our electromagnetic shield, our auric field, or you could say also our Merkaba. When we have ignited, when we have, through our own conscious awareness and choice, to embody Christ consciousness or God consciousness, and know that we have access to that, and it's our divine birthright. That is first of our greatest shield, if you will. That's the armor of God, you could call it, if you go back to the prayer. And again, I've not done any studies in religion. I only know a couple of really good profound quotes that I now understand fully.
Yeah.
Mostly so now they can use nanotech in your food and in the air, the spraying, which can auto remote control folks. But again, not if you are conscious, not if you are aware. It's only when you are unconscious and you're swimming in the soup of lower energy frequencies can they see you, as I say metaphorically. If you're operating beyond, you cannot be found, you cannot be seen. So it's only in the lower, this is part of our journey in our awakening and in our ascension and our consciousness, that we rise up out of like the manhole. We come up and go, hold on here, I'm empowered. I can lift myself up beyond this and no longer agree to the idea of fear or anger. Of course you're going to feel anger. You're going to feel every emotion throughout the day, but how long do you sit and stew in it? Right? That's the big part. So that would be the answer I would give there. It's primarily, I feel, it's your consciousness, your awareness. And if you are completely in judgment, then you are swimming in the lower, soup, quantum soup, if you will, of those lower energies. Like attracts like, you magnify, we talk about, we're going to talk about HeartMath in a little bit, our electromagnetic energy field, the carrier wave of information, and we are carrying that with us everywhere we go. And that attracts like-minded people, experiences, and adventures into our field. So if you're operating in fear, you're going to call more of that to you so that you step into your own power and go, wait, I'm respond to things being pushed at me. I'm going to step into my power, into my conscious awareness, and I'm going to proactively create. So I don't know if that answered. It sort of did, but I expanded perhaps a bit on it as well.
It does bring me to two questions that I have, and I've sent you 2 articles, and it's really not expanding too much on it, but the one was why I'm no longer a light worker, and the other one was about the flower of life and the Merkaba. The technology that was actually given to us is not the correct technology, that it was reversed, and we've been using this flower of life and Merkaba technology provided, but it's not spinning the right way, if I can say it in so many words. And so I've been kind of cautious about utilizing technology like that. Yes, Archangel Michael is an incredible, being on its own, just to help protection and putting the light around and the violet light. What are your thoughts about when we are communicating, downloading, what is the word, connecting to channeling? That's the word I'm looking for. Channeling and the false light comes in. We don't really know what is really when we do that channel, and then the Merkaba and the flower of light being reversed. What is your thoughts around that being true or not true? Or
well, with respect to channeling, I don't go up. I go in. I go into the heart space. So my connection is directly to source. The heart is the stargate. It's the portal. It's the gateway to source and to the higher realm. So I go in. I can't comment with respect to channeling because that's my experience to do it in that way. But some of my lovely friends on this journey have shared that that's one of the reasons why they love what I share, because it's pure. It comes within the heart. So that's how I would answer the first question with respect to channeling. And I would make an educated, conscious statement that if you are channeling and going up, it's going to be based on the purity of your own heart and your intention and your own discernment to understand what being you are connected with, or what energies and consciousness that you are connecting with. And so that's how I would answer that question. Your second question with respect to the inverted technologies or the distorted technologies, I would say that yes, they did distort a lot of the symbolism. We know that, but that is all being rectified now. We have a lot of cosmic energy supporting us. And I was just getting caught up on a Sandra Walter, who's a way shower and a grid worker. You probably know her. She's in America. And she was sharing that, we were getting all the freedom codes this year to correct the distortion and the inverted matrix and anything inverted. So I'm not a scholar in sacred geometry, but I'm certainly aware that it's all being corrected now, because their time is, they're in checkmate. So it's, you know, with compassion, we watch them leave.
Absolutely. We send them love. Goodbye. On your way. So
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Wherever you're going, but don't come back here. It's blocked. Paula, tell me about HeartMath and the HeartMath Institute. The heart, as you say, this is the Stargate, and this is where Source is. So if you can explain to me, I'm really keen and interested to learn what you do and what you have to offer at HeartMath.
Okay, so HeartMath is the largest scientific organization in the world doing research on the power of the human heart and the role it plays in our performance. That's like the broad, right? So they're doing research on the heart. HeartMath, this is my explanation that I share with my clients. HeartMath, to me, heart representing spirit, the heart of everything, at the root, the heart of everything, right? And its equation with the song of the universe. So we're using science that can be proven, that shows results, that when you practice the HeartMath trainings, teachings, and techniques, you are in equation with the song of the universe. You are in coherence, and coherence from a logical, a very easy understanding perspective is when your heart, your mind, and your emotions are synchronized. And then from a physiological perspective, this is the science part, and they can prove this through heart rate variability. So that's why the math comes in. It's all measurable, right? And then from a physiological perspective, it's when your immune system, your central nervous system, your hormone system is all synchronized and operating in a perfect sine wave with the heart, physiologically happening. So that's like an overall view of what HeartMath is. And they teach you all about the physiology of coherence, the physiology of your body, and how your mind, which when I talk about mind, this is specifically your thoughts and your emotions, how they play in your coherence practice. When you are coherent, it's easy to explain that. When you're coherent, it's clear, you understand, you're operating in the higher mind, the heart's intelligence can come through. When you are incoherent, if somebody's had too much to drink, is an easy way to explain that. You're not making any sense, it's missed communication, etc. What HeartMath has proven is that the heart sends more information to the brain than the brain sends to the heart, much more information to the brain. And you could, like, when you are coherent, you have a clear signal on the radio station, crisp, clear communication and information. When you are incoherent, you're on static. So think about, you're in static and you're trying to provide information to me to operate in my world in a clear way, and I can't hear you. We all know what happens with miscommunication, right? So that's a very broad view of HeartMath, but essentially what it does is it teaches people how to regulate their own emotions. It enhances their own self-awareness so they can be aware of how they're operating, what they're thinking and feeling. You talked about belief systems and patterns, unconscious patterns. So because it helps people understand their own thought patterns and belief systems, we can kind of dig into that by seeing the patterns. You know, I often ask my clients to write them down, especially if they have a larger degree of, more negative, polarized, non-supportive self-talk. And they write them down. Can't change what you can't see. So as soon as you can see it, then you can change the story, right? Read something. If it's a negative thought somebody has got into the practice of restating, you can encourage them, well, read that out loud and then close your eyes and tell me how it feels. Often it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right because it's not true. And then they can change one word. This would be something like, I'm not worthy. Is that true? if you or you say, just say that within yourself. It doesn't feel right. Now, right, I am worthy. How does that feel? Oh, much better. Then choose that thought, change that pattern. So that's kind of a broad overview of HeartMath. The real secret that's happening now at the end of it is, as I say, self-reg, emotional intelligence. Excuse me, my puppy is coming into the room right now, like dish on his head because he's got a sty. Okay, I'll show you just so, because he's so cute. There he is.
Yeah, he's so cute.
Yeah, he's under construction right now. I can't remember where I was, but oh yeah, so you learn with the HeartMath techniques, you learn where your stressors are. This is what's uncovered when you work with me anyway. Where your stressors are, what patterns of thought you have. Oh, there's your kitty. So you can regulate your own emotions. You can be in charge of your own emotions. You can stay in a coherent state. You can prepare for situations that are challenging. But at the end of the day, it means that you have created a peace and a heaven within. We know within and then without. We must create the heaven within first. And that, no matter what is happening outside, you are fine. You are okay with the external storm, because in here you are peaceful and it's fine. And people have to have that connection as we move through this passage, because this is the reckoning, right? This is the reclaiming. This is the witnessing of what we've created through past thought, right? Everything that's in front of us right now is a result of past thought. Now we create anew. We witness, oh my goodness, that's dreadful. Let's lift that and reclaim, remake, correct the errors of the past thinking, and now project our new thought of the new earth, where we can collaborate together and create solutions that benefit everybody. Imagine how exciting that would be. We could solve the plastic issue in a round table on a Friday night with some real smart people. It could be done. That's the really exciting part. Sorry, I went off on a tangent.
No, I love it because that's one of my passions, is collaborating and connecting people. I love connecting people. It's like I see myself as a little connector, and so that is so important to do that. You were saying that you were doing the HeartMath all over the world. So do you have people in South Africa that does HeartMath?
I have not had a in South Africa yet. So I would love to share, obviously.
Cool. Fantastic.
There are people there. I mean, I'm not the only HeartMath trainer and coach. There are HeartMath trainers and coaches all over the world.
Yes. We are doing this wellness seminar, online seminar, the Body and Mind Health and Wellness Directive, that's been around for 20 years. Because of this pandemic and not being able to do things in groups, of moving around and connecting. So we were going to have wellness talk days from July onwards, and now putting it online. We'll have further discussions, you and me, and seeing maybe we can get a group of people together and discuss how we can have a beautiful roundtable on this platform and get more exposure to South Africa, and South Africans more exposure to what else is going on in the world, things like that. It'd be great to hear what other people are doing, and that this purple hair crazy lady is not so crazy with what she's talking about. Other beings, Palladians, aliens, planets, all of that. She's not so crazy. There are all these amazing people in the world that
there's many of us. We're everywhere.
Yes, and I love it. Yeah. So we will definitely, talk.
Did you reach out to Carrie? Carrie K is from South Africa.
No, I haven't.
Oh, Carrie K is in South Africa. I believe her time zone is Johannesburg. Okay. And she has you right now too. So she would be definitely one to have on your show as well. She is a wonderful wealth of wisdom. I said that she has wonderful wisdom, and she also has blue and purple hair.
That's what I missed. Okay, cool. Yeah, we can maybe I can get. Was she on the round table, the last round table?
Yes, she was.
Okay, cool. I will have a look at that. Right.
Yeah,
So
she's
let's get in.
wonderful. Yeah.
Let's get in a little bit meatier stuff, and I know that this could probably go on for hours when we get into the next meet. What is your view of what's going on in the world about the pandemic, scandemic, the deep state, the cabal, all of the hidden agendas that are happening at the moment? I'm very lucky that I'm very aware of what's happening behind the scenes, but there's a lot of people still in this arena, in the health and wellness, healing, spiritual arena, that has been my peers for over 20 years, that I am hearing saying things like, stay at home, put your masks on, get the vaccine. And I'm literally jaw open, and they're talking about these conspiracy theorists that, well, I'm so sick to hear about all of these conspiracy theorists and people with their conspiracy theories. Share with me from your point of view, what is going on in the world?
What is going on in the world is we are at a point of significant spiritual awakening. Humanity has decided that we will no longer agree to lies. And so we are shifting our consciousness. And as we move through the shift in consciousness, we're letting go of that older, negative, lower vibrational stuff, anger, resentment, fear, bitterness, control, all that kind of stuff. And at the same time, those that we would call the cabal or the elite, the Illuminati, you have to think of those in terms of the very, very wealthy people, the family bloodlines, because there are 13, I believe there are 13 family bloodlines that have ruled this planet for thousands and thousands of years. And they do not want humanity to grow into their spiritual knowing, because they will uncover our incredible power, our incredible multidimensional nature, realize that we're creators of universes and worlds, because we're connected to source energy. And so they are attempting to stifle that by creating fear. And so the first thing they tried to do was create this illusion of a inorganic, because it was created in a lab. This virus was not organic. It was created in a lab to create fear, to isolate people, so that would create more fear. We've already seen reports come out that there were more deaths and more disruption as a result of the lockdown and keeping people away from each other than the actual cold itself. So on one hand, it's our time to evolve.
Yeah.
We basically got to a point where it's evolve or die. You're going to destroy yourselves. So we decided, as I say, at the higher level, that we will move forward. So that is a given. That's the good stuff. But in the meantime, in the interim, or the kind while, we have to walk through this, these global controllers or power, the bankers, who want to maintain control, because when people are afraid, they cauterize their connection to source, number one. They have no clear connection to your spiritual guidance when you are in fear. And people are easily manipulated and controlled. So phase one is, let's try this lockdown. That failed. They could not hold on to the narrative because there's too many of us awake all over the world right now. And now you've got these riots, and that was all staged. Those two individuals have a history together. One of them, yes, in and out of prison forever, which certainly does not justify what we witnessed. But what we witnessed was a show. Yeah. It was a show. It was deliberate. And now what we have coming out, which is so even though we watch these atrocities, they're being used and leveraged to wake up greater and greater population around the world to see what's happening. We now know that Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, by the way, every life is sacred. And it's beyond me that we're still stuck in this whole idea of skin color, and like, that's just, it's so like yesterday, like, so old. But that has been infiltrated by the Muslim Brotherhood, who is a part of this whole global puppet of the rulers, because they don't care who fights against who,
Yeah.
as long as someone's fighting against somebody.
Yeah.
They don't care. They don't have, you know, human beings really to them is kind of like a mosquito, you know, like, ew, you know. So that got infiltrated. We also know that the BLM funding is a shell account.
Yeah.
And that, all that money.
Just explain the abbreviation.
Black Lives Matter.
Okay, got it.
Lives Matter movement for fundraising. All that money, if it does not get claimed, I think it's called Act Blue, is the shell account, and it goes to the Democratic Party.
It's absolutely, and if I, you know, I've just watched something which was sent to me by Facebook. I cannot download it. It's been removed everywhere else. It was so powerful. What he was saying is like this triangle that they're using with regards. Okay, so they've got mainstream media, which is very, very important for this whole thing. Then they've got Black Lives Matter, which is part of, you know, let's have this rioting thing. Then they've got the Clinton Foundation, which is who makes the money out of this, George Soros, and then Afita, who is
yeah. So Antifa was also infiltrated.
Yeah,
Antifa is also infiltrated, and yeah, it's Georgie who's funding all of it. He's funding all the radical. He put $18 billion into this, and that's why it's global. It's a global scam,
absolutely,
essentially, to control the people, to keep us divided. Because when we unify, when we come together, we create beauty and magic. So if they can keep us fighting,
they want to keep. They want to keep. They want to keep the narrative of divide and conquer. They're also keeping us distracted because Hillary is going through trials at the moment for treason, and they do not want us to know that this is happening, that she's on trial for treason. So the whole thing is, you know, swifting our heads away from what's happening with Hillary Clinton by having this extreme global.
Yeah, it is that and much more. Hillary Clinton was in court recently, and she has to go back to court in September and testify with respect to her emails. Now, the emails are already coming out. I posted one on my Facebook just recently where she was writing an email. It's much than that. So yeah, she will, her and many, many others. Obama is another one, complete treason. And Georgie ordering Obama, distorting the name to speak in code. Yes. Ordering him to spy on the Trump campaign and many, many citizens of America. The other thing that's come to light, and you're absolutely right, this is all distractions so that the public is not aware, because remember, you've probably heard us talk about in the Divine Feminine Roundtables, we have to slow walk the public. The first understanding and comprehending that the people in power in this world have not had our best interest at heart at all. And they're very, very corrupt and have been doing terrible, terrible things. So we have to get them to go, oh my goodness, I did not know that these politicians, world leaders, were so corrupt, and they're actually working together because they're part of the same family bloodlines. It might look that it's that country and this country, but it's the same bloodline. Behind the scenes, they're having dinner together and celebrating their wins in the battlefields as we lose our brothers and sisters, right? Yeah. So we have that going on. We have Michael Flynn. Today, General Flynn has his arguments in court because the Department of Justice has said, we want to drop the case. They proved that the FBI lied. They set him up because Mr. Flynn wanted to audit all of the alphabet soup agencies. And as him coming in as the advisor to Trump, they knew he would uncover all of their crimes. So they bury it. Well, I feel that as soon as he is completely exonerated today, because they've said before, who knows where all the bodies are buried? And as I go back to, we have to slow walk the public to, oh my goodness, these leaders have not been doing what they've been committing these crimes all the way to These are the crimes that they have been committing. And that is going to be shocking to the majority of the population, because we're talking about crimes against humanity and incomprehensible crimes.
Crimes that is against children, as you know, what's happening in Hollywood, what's happening with all those devil worshipping and, all of that, what they're doing with children. It's
exactly. And it's not pretty. And that, as I say, this is the reckoning.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the last stand, which, you want to say dark and light, and yes, the Luciferian satanic ruling or what have you has been running this planet for hundreds of thousands of years. And that would make sense as to why we don't have access to any of our true history. It's all been hidden from us.
Yeah.
And you see that even now, with the riots, they're trying to destroy all the statues, the Confederate statues, because it's also been hidden that Miss Clinton's mentor was a fellow by the name of Robert Byrd, who is a KKK founder.
That's right.
The Democratic Party was the party of the Confederates, the South, where they were all about slavery.
That's right.
And they did not abolish slavery. And, we thought that slavery has discontinued, but it's moved from the cotton fields into the cubicles. We're still not free. Not like we should be. We're not free to create the solutions that we want. It's being stifled.
And the funny,
that's all coming.
And the funny thing is that slavery is now across all races and all colors and all things. Slavery is the fact that you have been taken, your freedom has been taken away, your sovereign rights has been taken away, and you basically been created as the strawman, that you are as a living being with blood doesn't exist. What exists is what's on paper, and that's written in black, which is dead, right? The slavery started being on your knees and being in debt. They need to keep you on your knees and in debt and holding out your hand.
Well, yeah, let's think about this for 1 second, right? The adults on the planet are charging and profiting from the children's education. That is insane.
Yeah.
The adults are profiting from the health and well-being of another brother or sister. That is insane, because that is going to drive behavior. If I can make more money giving you X than Y, but Y is better for you, then that you can see how people's decision-making can be distorted, right?
I did want to go in a little bit more in explaining about what the mask was about, and you kind of touched on that. It's like shut, got no rights, keeping down, and the kneeling part, which, as you've said,
it's also cover your face.
Yes.
It's all, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it's also cover your face.
Yeah.
You cannot be seen, which also, in other cultures where they cover the woman.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you covering beauty? Nature doesn't cover the rose. Why would you cover her? That has nothing to do with...
Nothing is really going to change unless we have full disclosure. Like, we're just going to keep on playing the narrative. It's just going to keep on being this divide and conquer. What we need is full disclosure on everything. The technology, the looking glass, the other species that is influencing or that's visiting this planet. We need full disclosure to be able to really have the freedom.
Yeah, and that's where we're moving. So sort of like, just to go back, right? We've got all these things happening in the courts to show the crimes that they've done. Yeah, that's what I have it back now. So what the street crime level is run by the Clinton crime family and others. Those families, they have crime level. And they figured out a key of heroin will only yield them so much profit. So that's why they went into selling people, slaves, whether it's slave for labor or sex slaves, being children, or a little girl or a little boy, because they figured out that they can make many, 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 many times more. But what a lot of folks don't understand is that the Clinton organization were the largest child traffickers globally.
Yeah.
And that's why you have Bill Clinton visiting Epstein's Island 26 times, and you have Prince Andrew. So this involves royalty. And of course, we all know, right? The elite pedophilia is commonly understood that it happens in the circles of the elite. But I'm sorry for the, and you've even got the New York Times 6 years ago in an article was pushing that pedophilia is a disorder. It's not a crime. They've been trying to push. We've even had professors at university come forward and say, you know, they wanted me, they would gift me with this funding and this wonderful professor, you know, title, but they had to agree to pedophilia. You know, so it's, and that ties into the whole rule of the Luciferian old, which is collapsing. So from the psychic picture that they give me, I'm not really a girly girl, but they put me in this beautiful pink gown, and I'm walking down the center of a city street, and as I walk, you know, the sun is shining and there's a breeze. This building here is collapsing. This structure is collapsing. And I keep, and this one, we just have to walk through it. So when we see a structure collapsing, that's where we can go, okay, great. Wow, that's collapsing. Celebrate, because it's paving the way for a new to be born.
You were bringing up the royal family and Prince Andrew and things like that. I also heard that something happening within the royal family.
Yeah, there's apparently a king, King George. Apparently Anne Boleyn was never beheaded with King Henry VIII. And there's some true royal lineage, which wouldn't surprise me because, you know, it's really understood and known that the royal family are in fact not even from the UK. They were actually German.
That's right.
German and Nazi. So when you think about that, you think, oh, I could see how they would say, oh, well, you're just the mistress of the king and you have an offspring. They would bury that and cover that up. But I really don't know how that's going to play out. You know, really, you know, in a lot of ways, why do we have monarch? Why do we have that?
Yeah,
it's not necessary.
Yeah.
You know, why would you have 36 million pounds tax-free a year for your income, and you've got people starving in your streets? You're not a queen of the people. And that's why they loved, you know, I met Princess Diana twice. And that's why people loved her so much, because she was the queen of the people.
Yeah.
She was the queen of heart, right? And that's why they murdered her.
You do channel her a little bit, I have to say. I do.
Me?
Yeah. I pick up a little bit of her energy when you were talking about it.
I met her twice. I met her the first time in Rothsay, New Brunswick, when I was only 16 with her and Charles. I didn't get to shake her hand then, but when I was in Wales, I did get to shake her hand. And she was the most beautiful woman, the most beautiful presence I've ever seen.
Yeah. But
it was energy, her presence. She was just incredible. What a beautiful soul and spirit. And anyway, yeah, I digress. But yeah, the royal family, they're involved.
Yeah.
Even the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh in the 70s in Canada, we're accused of or known to leave with around 30 Aboriginal or Native children from Vancouver. They took them. And so you're wealthy. When you're rich, you can hide.
Yeah, of course.
You hide a lot of things. Go into your gated home and into your private garage or your private island. You can hide stuff. And that's basically what is coming to the surface now. For all of the listeners, you're going to be with nothing ever appears as what it seems. Number one.
Yeah.
Number one, it's never going to appear. That's why it's so important to stay neutral in everything that you're witnessing. Don't take sides. Don't judge. When I go home, something else must be going on here.
Yeah.
But all of this is, it's a reckoning. We have to look at all this muck so that it can kind of be washed away with this water, right?
The hose pipe.
And then shift in octave. Then we shift in a completely different level of consciousness where we know. Because if I knew that you're my sister, I would never make a product that would rip you off.
Yeah.
I would never make a product that would fail you in a year, like to rip you off. You know, I would want to make something that was like the best, that would last forever. It's balanced with Mother Earth. It would serve you well and serve many if we knew that we were of one source. Finally, humanity has to be of the integrity that we are one source. We are of one source. And that the suffering of one means it's a suffering of all.
Correct.
We have to get to that mindset.
I've got two very final things to ask you. The first thing we're going to just quickly touch on a bit of vaccines, because I like taboo subjects. And then the second thing, and just on closing, to part with, what do we do now, knowing all this darkness and knowing all this psychic attacks and nanotechnologies? Orion had such a beautiful clearing of the contracts, which I really want to tap in with her, or maybe with a group of you again, just in a heart space, being HeartMath, to close off with, what do we do now on this planet as starseeds, as light workers? What is the message that we share? But let's start off quickly with, in a nutshell, what are your thoughts about the vaccines?
My first, it's saying it. My internet is unstable. My first thought: no, thank you, no, thank you. In
Over
the
my
80s,
dead body.
Yeah, exactly. Not on my exactly. I would take my life before, because I'm not afraid of death.
Yes,
I'm not afraid at all. And that would be an honorable way to exit. And I know I would not be incurring any karma by making that choice, because that would be diminishing my life. So I know I'm not taking it. And the reason why is for a lot of reasons. I trust my own immune system. I trust my own body. I listen to my own body, and it instructs me as to what it needs. If I've eaten something or consumed something that disrupts my own internal harmony, then it gets removed from my diet. Most people don't understand that in the 80s, they made a law where pharmaceutical companies, they do not have to prove that the vaccine works. They do not have to prove that it's clean. And if the vaccine causes you any damage, you cannot sue them. So I'm not taking your poison, because I trust. See, even if there was a flu virus that was on the planet, we have something called herd immunity. It's very much the same as when we are close to inventing a new something, a new technology or a new invention, something brand new. You have multiple people across the planet that discover the same thing very, very close together, because we share a collective mind. Once one of us has developed the antidote, it's accessible to everybody. So I have far more trust and faith in the organic than anything synthetic. So I don't trust. And we know that the integrity of those vaccines, they don't have any. There is no integrity. It's garbage. They're putting mice brains in there and pig's blood, and you're not going to put that contaminant in my body.
Yeah.
The vaccine. With respect to what do we do? What action can we take? Heal your internal hurts. Heal your hurts. Get control of your own emotions. Get yourself to the point where you can be self-regulating, neutral. Get out of polarity. Get into neutral. Neutral is God consciousness. It's Christ consciousness. It observes. You don't have to attach to either. Heal your hurts and heal your connection to source. Get connected with your higher self, because that's the only guide that will lead you through this passage. It's always darkest before dawn. We know that they are fighting to maintain control, fighting for their life, if you will, and all assets will be deployed. So it will likely become more challenging before we finally step through the shift, and know that we have so much support. The energies coming to the planet. We are in, our whole world is bathed right now in the energies of truth. You cannot lie. Everything they do will backfire. In fact, everything they do gives a further gift to all of those that have chosen love.
Mm.
So every time they try to like do something that would thwart the natural evolution that is divinely decreed in our human birthright, every time they try to do that, we end up getting a gift. Like it pushes us further up and along, and they get what Carrie Kay often refers to as the boomerang effect. Yeah. Right? It comes right back at you. So I would leave on those positive notes and know that we have decided at a higher level that we will move forward. We will move on, and that we're just going through a growth spurt.
Yeah.
It's just time to grow up. Get out of the sandbox, put down your clubs, time to have a hug in,
Yeah. Like one of your ladies on the Divine Feminine Roundtable also said, is that we also have to start acknowledging our own selves in each of one of those people, sending the love and the forgiveness, and knowing that they have that divine, beautiful source light, spirit within their hearts and within their own beings, that it is just been so numbed down and so deep dark. It reminds me of The Little Soul in the Sun by Neil Donald Walsh, which is one of my favorite stories. I always use that. It's just they forgot who they really, really are, and they forgot their own light. So and it's always a mirror and a reflection to us when we see what part of us are still in that darkness, and to put light into it.
Yeah, you're right. They're lost in the darkness, high and low and in between. In spite of how they appear, they are still a piece of God. And my guides, they say often, humanity's suffering can be reduced to a single idea. And that's the idea that we are separate, that we are separate from the source, and we are not. And if I'm not separate from my source, then neither can you be. Right? So yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, we're coming home. We're coming home to what's true and what's real. And that's incredible. Get together with like-minded people, right? Yeah. And if you're going to do research on, some of this darker stuff, don't overwhelm yourself. Like learn a little bit and then take a time out, integrate it, go hang out in nature, take a bath and go, oh, wow, that was really heavy. Do whatever you can to create peace in your world. So important.
Yeah, there was a book that I got given right in the beginning of my journey around about 2001, 2002 called Radical Forgiveness by Colin Tippings. Specifically speaks about not interacting or reacting when you are seeing the news or when you're seeing the stuff, but to stay neutral and not be in reaction to what's happening, because every time we are in a reaction, we feed it more. It gives it more of that energy.
One other thing I wanted to say, I'm going to email you. I posted on the Divine Feminine Roundtable, the Facebook group, Ariah's process for clearing contract.
Yes.
So you can post it on the video, and that way your listeners can have access to that as well if you wish.
That'll be great. I also will share the link of the Divine Feminine Facebook page. I did join that last night, so I will share that link as well, and all your other links. I will put this on the Authentically Me YouTube channel, also on the Body and Mind YouTube channel, and then share it on all our social medias. And I'll send you a copy and put it maybe on one of your platforms that you've...
it's Elevate Me Hub.
Elevate Me Hub. So I want to thank you. I'm really honored and so privileged to have this amazing hour with you, sharing this wonderful stuff. I feel like a little girl that's just opened a present. It's really exciting that this journey of Authentically Me can get with having this conversation with you.
Oh, thank you. I'm honored to be here with you this morning. I'm so grateful that you reached out, and I'm glad that we're connected now, so we can share moving forward as well, which is lovely.
Absolutely. Anybody who'd like to have a conversation with myself or join in a roundtable discussion, please contact me for real deep meaning conversations. Share your stories, truth and discoveries. I look for authenticity. Thank you very much, Paula. Have a beautiful day. Bless you and lots of love.
Thank you. Bless you as well. Bye-bye.
Bye.